Hey everybody, it's Rob from Flailthroughs. This is Gundam Battle Operation 2, and this is a request from Thomas, who way too long ago I did a request for what Thomas called the Ace Gundam, which was a Gundam GP01 in the colors of various Zeon Aces. I kind of went for the obvious ones there. I believe it had Char, the Black Tri-Stars, Rambaral, and Johnny Raiden, so yeah. Thomas asked for the Gundam Mark II as the Ace Gundam Mark II with a new set of aces. I know we talked at one point about Thomas supplying suggesting a set of aces, but if you sent that message, I did not get it, so I just figured something out here. Finally. And as always, I apologize for the wait, but this is. I wrote it down so I could not forget who was who. The arms are in the colors of Brenniv Oggs, aka Brennis Ox, aka I may have messed up those two translations. Uh, Shin Matsunaga torso, the white and dark gray. Gabby Hazard's legs, and apologies to that G-Quux, because, yeah, I did not mean to knock it over. But yeah, Gabby Hazard legs. Gabby's colors on the original MSV illustration might have been a little on the close side to Johnny Raiden. It's a more orangey kind of red, but I just kind of liked that color, so I went with it. And Masaya Nakagawa's head, and his was more in the tannish range, closer, I think, to, say, Garma's Zaku. So, yeah, that's where I've gone with this, and I think it turned out fairly well. The colors, the colors aren't super clashy, but it definitely looks like it's made up of a bunch of different color schemes. But yeah, I'm happy with how it came out. This was a decent round and a fairly interesting one, just because the team worked very well together, I think, and also I am the only uh, the only non G-Quux general here at 500. So yeah, but yeah, here's a decent look at the color scheme. Yeah, some of the Shin colors, of course, are tied to the torso, so they wound up on the chin and the forehead crest, I believe. So, but yeah, it's yeah, Mark II does relatively okay. It is definitely, I think it has probably fallen out of the 500 general meta at this point, but it's still fairly capable. There's definitely better options at this point if you want to have a stun and saber stun and saber, you know, Blue Zuka type play. To be honest, in its current state, the standard Gundam is probably like significantly better at that than the Mark II is, honestly. But it's still decent. It is solid enough. And yeah, I like I said, I picked this round just because it had some interesting moments and the team worked well together. Because yeah, sometimes I really kind of lucked out in that most of the teams I had tonight were pretty solid. I'm recording this Sunday night to be aired on Monday. I'm old because I'm saying aired as though television were involved in this and broadcasting in any way whatsoever. But yeah, it was had a bunch of decent rounds. This is the best of the ones I recorded in the Mark II, and man, just I'm just happy that after being in a funk yesterday, that like that one player. Yeah, I'm sure you have all run into your own that one player. Just did not completely ruin my mood for recording this tonight. Zamel player started the round with take the melees, so I decided, okay, I'll stick close and take the melees. Got overrun by two or three melees, and they decided that that was their cue to never be back in the Zamel again for the entire round. They base bombed and they tooled around in a tank, but you know the rest of the team was doing a pretty solid job because we didn't lose by a huge margin, but we lost. So yeah, that person clearly blocked and reported. I'm pretty sure that was another example of the slope being the most difficult enemy in GBO2. Because yeah, I'm pretty sure if we had been on even ground, I would have hit that prototype Zeta Gundam with that swing. But luckily, the Vulcans were enough to keep going when it hit Active Guard. Because yeah, Active Guard's a great tool, and eventually, since it consumes boost, you can't do it forever. And 100 rounds of Vulcans is, thankfully, a lot. speaking of which, I decided, or is it 90? Either way, Vulcans. But yeah, I decided to throw a little bit at the feet of that downed mobile suit because I didn't want to risk knocking somebody over again like I did with the G-Quux before. So, yeah, and I'm glad somebody else decided to head over this way with me because, yeah, just going to the base by myself wouldn't have been smart. I'm not sure going to the base with teammates was even the right play, but, could be worse. And for me, it now is, but we've got 2.5 minutes to, we are exactly 1 kill behind, and we've got 2.5 minutes to do something about it. Yeah, that prototype Zeta, I think it's type X1 or X. No, it is X1, I think. That one definitely did a pretty good job of fighting me off a lot of times during this round. Like that thing can fight generals without too much issue. It looks like. I haven't used it a lot myself. I need to get more practice with it, but yeah, like they added the prototype Zeta and the mass production Zeta around the same time, and the mass production Zeta is just really, really fun to use and really cool looking. So if I'm gonna, uh, they kind of all mesh together in my head after a while, and that's the one I always remember. So, see, there is a Gundam, I believe. It's either a gun, yeah, it's a Gundam. Having Gundam and Perfect Gundam usable at the same cost is kind of weird, which I think only happens at 550, of course. But just you kind of have to, from a distance, you kind of have to keep an eye on the legs to see if there's Zeon conduction cables or not. And there is that Proto Zeta, so which just did its double dodge roll. And yeah, gonna try and get close enough to do something, but it does have a shotgun bazooka. And it also has a teammate, both of which are kind of difficult for me to cope with. That is that also a Mark II? No, that's a 7th Gundam, I'm pretty sure. Which, yeah, you can tell it's a 7th Gundam because it has a zillion melee attacks and can keep going forever. Speaking of things that are probably better at doing the ranged into melee meta than the Mark II is at this point. But yeah, we've gotten it really close. Enemy team just took the lead, but we're doing all right, so let's see. And we are, 30 seconds left, and gonna jump back in and see if I can be useful. Yeah, gonna jump in right there. And sometimes in the last like 30 seconds of a match, waiting for that spawn just feels like forever. Okay, yeah, we've got like 10 seconds. I'm gonna try and get to something I can shoot at because we are so close. I am gonna find a place to take my shot. Shot taken. Shot succeeded. Yeah, that's the other reason I kept this one. Good to last second win. So, like I said, decent round. I think I worked well with the flock here because many G quacks. I did not beat my rival. The quacks did 107,000 damage. To be honest, with these colors, surprised I'm not even top diversions, but it went 5 and 4. I'll take it. I hope you enjoyed the round, Thomas, and that is going to do it for today's Gundam Battle Operation 2. We will be back soon with more. Till next time, everybody take care and have fun. Later. So I don't know if it's going to look any different, but this is my first round recorded on a PlayStation 5 Pro. I decided to move up because the prices on PlayStations are going up, and to be honest, I didn't know that when I ordered. I ordered like right before they announced the price increase. Lucky me. But yeah, they my PS5 is like 4 years old, so I decided it was probably wise to make sure I had a brand new machine to deal with before I was expecting a price increase. To be honest, I was expecting a bigger one than we got because there's been talk of a really high tax on semiconductors. So yeah, if that's the case, then yeah, everything's going to get expensive. So I wanted to make sure I was good to record GBO2 for as long as possible. So here we are. I'm not recording in high dynamic range, so let me know if you see any change in quality otherwise, because I honestly don't know if there's a huge difference, just to my eye.